Okay, guys, we are back trying to find out what's happening with regards to the Diddy bail hearing. Now, as I said earlier, I said, listen, we're going to come back on because what they're trying to do is give Diddy a bond. So, what the Judge Separanian, said that they're going to come back at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So, they're kind of waiting to kind of get it all moving on. But let's kind of get into some of the things. Well, actually, let's get into this. Let's kind of show what is going on in New York. They say it's a huge crowd. People they've gathered. They want to see, what's going on. So this is what's going on in New York.
Crowd, of course, has gathered outside the courthouse since the beginning of the Combs trial. And once the verdict came down today, that crowd grew even bigger, prompting the NYPD to put some safety measures in place.
Yeah, with that part of our story, Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo is live in Lower Manhattan and continues our coverage. Anthony.
Sandra, Liz, music, fashion, alcohol. Seems like there's no industry that Sean Diddy Combs hasn't touched. The cameras and the crowds are to be expected. In fact, he's pretty used to them, but nothing quite like this. From the people packed behind barricades to the waving around of bottles of baby oil, the spectacle was certainly on brand for someone as big as Diddy.
Diddy was somebody that we definitely looked up to and admired for his business acumen and all that kind of stuff,
The media frenzy has followed Sean Combs and his family into this chapter of fame. Cheers and jeers as his children and his mother made their way into and out of the courthouse. What does verdict day mean for Diddy's legacy?
Legacy is ruined. And 10 years from now, any of my grandkids look back at Bad Boy, all they're going to hear about is these things here.
I would have probably voted not guilty on everything, only because I feel that the government overcharged and overreached.
It doesn't change my view on Diddy because I know that he's not a good man. He's not a good man.
The reaction just as mixed as the verdict itself. Make no mistake, this is not a happy day, even for fans.
Yeah, I definitely was a fan. What he's done in the music industry. I mean, there's so many positive things that he's brought, right?
Monica says this case and this trial and this publicity has revealed the dark side of an icon.
I'm seeing kind of the response of like baby oil everywhere and like people kind of making light of the situation. It actually scares me to think that people can think that they can get away with more pain for, women, children, just things that shouldn't be happening.
And here's another live look here, a glimpse of the activity going on right now outside of the courthouse. You can see several dozen spectators who continue to wait outside of court here. We know that as the judge decides whether or not Diddy can be released out on bond leading up to his sentencing, that means a coordination between local law enforcement and federal agents in and around the courthouse to make sure that all of that can go down seamlessly as Diddy potentially walks out and says a thing or two, possibly to the people that are fans of his and his critics. A lot of people are waiting to see if that'll happen. We're live for now outside of federal court, Manhattan. Anthony.
Okay, guys, so that's pretty much what it looks like in front of the court. Diddy's family, they have arrived because, as we said earlier, the judge said, hey, come back at 5 o'clock because we want to talk about this bail situation, because Diddy's attorneys are like, look, let him out. He has been found not guilty of the most serious charges. Originally, they did not let him out because they said, hey, he has these charges. The government said we are sure that we will be able to convict him on this. So it's really no need of having bail. And also, if y'all remember, they said he was reaching out to witnesses, yada, yada. Well, he was found not guilty. So I doubt he's going to be reaching out to any witnesses. But listen, let's get into something else. Now, we know that Diddy has been found not guilty of all of the crimes related to Cassie and Jane Doe. It's simple, guys. The jury did not believe them. They didn't believe him. But let's get into this, because Cassie, she's still not happy Although Diddy's been in jail for months, she received $20 million from his companies and now $10 million from the hotel. Well, guess what? Cassie and her lawyer and the stylist wrote letters to the judge this afternoon, basically asking the judge to not let Diddy out because he is a danger to the victims. But there's only one thing based on the what was decided. There are no victims. So Cassie, move on, girl. So let's get into what Cassie's attorney said. So the letter says, "Dear Judge Subterranean, we write as counsel for 𝐃𝐶ventura to respectfully request that the court deny Mr. Combs to be released pending his sentencing on his 2 convictions." And they give the penal code for those convictions. Pursuant to the bail reform, and they give the code and everything, detention is mandatory post-conviction on these charges. And Miss Ventura believes that Mr. Combs is likely to pose a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself, as well as to the community. We thank the court for its time and attention to this matter. I thought Cassie just had a new baby. Why is she not tending to her baby? Girl, he is not going to be in jail for the rest of his life. And in all honesty, Cassie, the jury did not even believe you. It's given bitter, is what it's given. Live your life. You have a husband. Why aren't you not breastfeeding your baby on them that everybody was on in them freak offs? Cassie is getting on my nerves at this point. This is too much. She continues to call victims, but they didn't believe y'all. He wasn't convicted of that. The jury did not buy it, Cassie. They didn't. And guess what? I never bought it. Now, here is another letter from Cassie's stylist. Okay, this was written today. "Dear Judge Subterranean, I'm writing to express my grave concern over the prospect of Seancombs being released from custody. While I appreciate the fairness you have shown throughout this proceeding, I feel compelled to be unequivocal about the danger he poses to the public and to the individuals who have risked everything by coming forward." I mean, he was free before he turned himself in. So I'm not sure why you're suddenly so afraid. This man is not even thinking about you. Mr. Combs has a long, well-documented history of violent, coercive, and retaliatory behavior. May I add, he doesn't have any of this on his record, but I digress. Over the years, he has repeatedly escaped meaningful accountability, and each time this has only reinforced his sense of impunity. If he is released now, I have no doubt he will see it as yet another license to continue intimidating, threatening, and harming people who challenge or expose him. I don't remember this stylist saying that Diddy did any of these things to him. What is all the hate for this man? Like, this is just too much. Most of us have firsthand knowledge of the fear he instills in those around him. I can say without hesitation that he is a serious and immediate threat to the victims. He keeps saying victims, but the jury didn't believe you. So there are no victims. Witnesses and the broader community. His pattern of violence, particularly while engaged in the traffic of individuals for prostitution. Now, this is where it becomes a problem. And in fact, Diddy can sue him for this because he was found not guilty. So this guy continues to say that he did a crime that in fact he was found not guilty of. Okay. Combined with unchecked substance abuse, makes it clear that he is not ready to re-enter society safely or responsibly. What are y'all saying in the chat? What are y'all saying in the chat? This is given bitter, it's too much. And this is why I did not believe what Cassie said. Now y'all seeing exactly who she is. To release Mr. Combs without substantial consequence would undermine the integrity of this process and send a dangerous message that wealth and influence can shield someone indefinitely from accountability. It will also endanger those who cooperated with this investigation under subpoena who are already living in fear of retaliation. Well, if you were living in fear of retaliation, you shouldn't have came, because the simple fact is this man was found not guilty. Leave him the hell alone. You need to accept the verdict, okay? Accept the verdict. Move on with your life. I urge you in the strongest possible terms to prioritize the safety of the victims. There's no victims, according to, there's no victims. They found him not guilty. And witnesses over any consideration of leniency. Mr. Combs has had countless opportunities to change, and he has chosen instead to escalate his harmful conduct. What harmful conduct are you talking about? Now, if you're talking about the video between him and Cassie, we do know about that. Allowing him back into the community now would be a profound mistake. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to protecting the public from those who repeatedly demonstrate they are unwilling to respect the law. Well, here's the deal. The fact of the matter is he was convicted of what he was convicted of, and that's it. That's it. And listen here. I'm going to show you all a video clip because for some reason, we live in a society where people believe just because a woman says something that is true. Well, the jury did not believe Cassie, nor did the jury believe Jane Doe. And that's it. That's all. And judging from everything that I've read and the inconsistencies, I didn't believe it either. Now, here's the deal. I believe things did happen, but I also believe that they lied so much to try to get this conviction that it was very, very hard to even believe what they were saying. Keep in mind, the jury didn't believe it. Now, I want to show y'all this clip from Piers Morgan because this bald-headed guy, he used to be, what's his name? Suge Knight's attorney. Now listen to what he says about Cassie and Jane Doe's attorney and just how the jury did not believe it.
With Puff, it's wrong and it's silly and it's nonsensical. R. Kelly was guilty of screwing around with kids. No time 50 years ago or 50 years from now will that be okay. This was a bad case. No one believed Cassie. Here's all you need to know. Every single count in which the credibility of the alleged victims.
Let me say it again. Nobody believed Cassie. And I'm going to say this to the hoe that put that in the comments. You subscribe. Bye, hoe. Your subscription don't do nothing for me. Cassie is a liar, and so was Jane Doe. That is why he walked. See, what you hoes need to understand, if you're going to run around and be a hoe, make sure you have better notes, because the fact of the matter is they were hoes, and that's just that. They were hoes and they was bitter. The fact of the matter is that you wanted to send somebody to jail for the rest of their life because they didn't spend time with you, because they no longer wanted you, is real ugly. So if you subscribe for that, I want you to leave, hoe. Goodbye. Cassie lied and so did Jane Doe. They both were hoes. And that's it. That's all.
Was put into question. The jury came back 36 times and said not guilty. Every single case, every single charge that had anything to do with Cassie or with Jane, the jury absolutely did not believe them, found them to not be credible. Even.
Did y'all not hear that? The jury didn't believe it. Like, why is that so hard for people to understand? The jury watched the tapes, the SEX tapes. The jury watched it. We couldn't see it. The jury didn't believe them. It didn't believe it. What part do y'all not understand? Nobody is saying Seancombs is this perfect person. Nobody ever said that. In fact, the jury saw the video where he assaulted Cassie. But unfortunately, that is the only thing that y'all can keep in y'all head. It was wrong. It was wrong. And like his attorney said, if he was charged with domestic violence, oh, he gonna plead guilty. But the fact of the matter is, him putting his hands on somebody is not RICO. So what the prosecution did, they thought by showing y'all that video that they were going to be able to convict him, because people, especially women, y'all would get so emotional and y'all would be like, oh, he beat her up, he needs to go to jail for the rest of his life. But it's not right. They lied. They were not honest. And I've been trying to say this the whole time. This is simply why I didn't talk about it, because this was bullshit from the beginning.
To the extent to convict someone who's on a video beating the living snot out of the woman. That tells you all you need to know about the case. The media and people, lawyers, plaintiffs' lawyers who wanted to sue him said, oh, she's so convincing. It's hard to feel sorry for a woman who's instructing a sex worker on how to urinate in their mouth and telling her how to do it. And the Punisher, who I think is just an absolute star, explained this in to such a point of view, I would threw my hands up, because I literally go, I don't know, you can't have better testimony than that, other than when Jane said she thought that P. Diddy was a cuckold. And if the prosecution, if they didn't think they had to do it, the defense didn't think they had to do it, they could have called, any head of the human sexuality department and said, tell us about the swingers lifestyle, tell us about water games, tell us about this, put on the videos. That's clearly what it was. We don't have to guess, because the jury has told us they believed what the defense team put out there. And Tenny Garagos from the very beginning set the stage for this, the tenor.
Pretty much the prosecution tried to try this case in the media. That's it. They tried to try the case in the media. The jury looked at it and they did not see it as such. Y'all got to understand, they watched the videos, they saw everything. We only saw what we were told, but they saw everything. This whole entire thing, there was so many things that were said that even the court allowed to slip in. Like I said before, Mia getting on the stand lying, talking about Diddy dangled her over something, but then swearing to when it happened, to find out that, girl, you lying, because unless he can be in two places at one time. And this is why they didn't find him guilty, because they should have just told the truth, whatever it was. But they started to tell lies. They started telling lies. You said, let me look. They started to tell lies. So let's see what's going on with the bail here, y'all. Let's see. Now it is about 5:18. Let's see what's going on with the bail here. Somebody said bail is denied. It does say that. Isn't that crazy? That is crazy, y'all. I just looked at it. It said bail is denied. Are y'all? I just saw that. Yeah, it seemed like the judge is bitter too, because how is he denying this man bail when originally the cases that he was charged with, that was one of the reasons that they said, hey, we're not going to let you out because you was charged with trafficking. But now that the trafficking was not proven, the judge still didn't let him out. Oh my goodness. It said, because that's what the video was about, him being released. That's why it says that. Oh, wow. Okay, let's see what else is going on. So they're not saying anything else as far. That's crazy. Okay, let's see. They're not really saying anything else. Let me refresh this. Let me refresh it. They're not really saying anything else. It just says 1 minute ago, judge denies bail for Sean Diddy Combs. It doesn't say anything else. It says victim's rights attorney expresses concern about Combs potentially being released on bail. Gloria Allred, victims' rights attorneys, told CNN that she is concerned Sean Diddy Combs may be released on bail. I'm very concerned about Mr. Combs being released on bail, which is a possibility, Allred said, adding that she's sure the judge will his very best to reconsider all the guidelines, factors for sentencing. Allred noted that there are others who are concerned about the potential release of Combs aside from those who testified in this trial. I mean, at some point, the man is going to have to get out of jail. I mean, what are these people talking about? Some of them were willing to testify if, in fact, they were called. Some of them, in fact, were on the witness list, which was turned over to Seancombs defense attorneys, but has not been released to the public. So I always am concerned for victims or abusers. You know what? Okay, y'all, can y'all help me out? I mean, if he was convicted, he hasn't been convicted of that. So yeah, I don't know. This is a little bit too much. He wasn't convicted of the trafficking, so I don't understand why they keep on relating this as if this man has been convicted of it. They don't want him to get out. They better get Trump involved. They better get Trump involved. They better get Trump involved. Because that was really fast. I thought at least they were going to, oh my gosh. Bail was denied. Child, yes, they done denied it. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat. That was really fast, though. I mean, wow. It's kind of crazy because as I watched this trial, one of the reasons why they said that they didn't want to let him out on bail was simply because of those trafficking. But since he didn't get convicted of that, I would have, assumed that they would have let him go. That's crazy. And then they continue to talk about these victims' rights attorneys. He's gonna have to start suing some of these people for not using the alleged word, because according to the jury, there were no victims, that these people wanted to do exactly what it is they did. So, So the hearing has started and they have already said no, which is very interesting because if you guys recall, the judge said that he wanted the prosecution to actually get law that basically indicated what would be the reason that he could not be, let out. So this is crazy. Well, here's the thing, Andrea. I don't know when you say doesn't mean he won't offend again. They found him not guilty. So I'm going with that. They found him not guilty. So I'm not going to call somebody an offender if they were found not guilty. So unless you was there, I don't know. I wasn't there. He's not guilty, and that's what I'm going with. I'm not going to call somebody an offended. What I do know is Cassie is a liar. She's a liar. She's a liar. Jane Doe is a liar. So why don't y'all call out when these women tell lies, but you constantly say the man is the offender? But we know that Cassie is a liar. We know that the jury didn't believe her. In fact, the jury didn't believe anything Cassie said or Jane Doe. Why do you think that is? Why didn't the jury believe anything they had to say? Why? So the jury sat there for 7-8 weeks and listened to the testimony, watched them on stand, and then believe shit they had to say. But yet you in the chat calling him an offender. Are you bitter? You must be bitter. A jury of 12 people didn't believe shit Cassie had to say or Jane Doe. And y'all still in the chat calling somebody an offender. But you wasn't even in court. The jury didn't believe nothing they had to say. Nothing they had to say. The judge says that he doesn't see a reason to give him bail when he didn't give him bail before. Well, so originally he didn't get bail before for two reasons. They said that he had been contacting victims. Remember, it's kind of different because the case was going on, but now the case is over. He was not convicted of those charges. So essentially, too, the prosecution was saying, in any way, we have overwhelming evidence and we know we're going to convict him. So it was a little bit different then than it is now. But the fact that the judge is not giving him bail, they need to get on Trump line, because I feel like this judge is a little biased too, because why come he can't have bail? He wasn't convicted of that. And in fact, the jury didn't believe Cassie or Jane Doe. The jury didn't buy it. They didn't believe him. So the fact that they continue to call themselves victims, I think Diddy needs to start suing some people, because he was not convicted of that. He was not convicted of that. In fact, y'all know what I think? I think Cassie was bitter because she did all of those things. And I think she realized that ultimately it didn't lead to anything. See, sometimes women will do anything when they think, okay, this man has a lot of money, he's probably gonna marry me. It didn't happen. And I believe she got bitter. Cassie's attorney said he believes that the jury did believe Cassie. He said that no, baby, the jury didn't believe Cassie. That's why they found him not guilty. We got some. Can y'all read? No. You can't be that delusional. If he was found not guilty and you said the jury did believe Cassie, yeah, that's crazy. Your mammy sound foolish, and you can get out of here. Cassie was a hoe who turned tricks, and she got mad. I mean, it is what it is. The jury didn't believe her. He's not guilty. Y'all the ones that's mad. Y'all mad. Why are you so mad? The man was found not guilty, and you're mad. Cassie was a hoe. I mean, if you sleep with a escort, you are a hoe. What's this girl name? Jane Doe, that they were hoes. I mean, it is what it is. The jury didn't believe them. Y'all bitter and mad about what? Why are you so mad? Because somebody else is free. We are watching what I don't know what that means. Let's see what they're saying on CNN. Let's see what's going on, y'all, here. The jury didn't believe them. 12 jurors did not believe them. It has nothing to do with the jury instructions. They didn't believe it. What are they saying? They're not saying anything with regards to what the judge. Yeah, that says 23 hours ago. Let's see here. All right, let's see what they're saying here, y'all. Just give me a second. All right, let's see what's going on with TMZ.
Right. Okay, here we go. Okay, but we got to do this fast, guys. It is 2:28. I got 14 minutes. Guys. I know that's we have to do about 7 minutes, right? You got to move. We should have done that before.
Sorry for the shakiness, everyone. Happy to answer any questions in the meantime.
Just give us a time. Just tell us a time.
No, we're doing A. This is A block.
We've got to do
today's
A.
show. We're doing. This is A block for today's show. We got it. It feeds it.
How long is leading up to Joe?
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with TMZ, but we ain't got time for that. We don't got time for that. Let's see what's going on.
Seriousness is of the convictions at hand. Big news today. Let's get right to Lisa Evers, who's live in front of the courthouse. Lisa, what was the decision by the judge to deny bail for Diddy?
Well, Bianca and Natasha, first of all, this, I'm sure, was a tremendous disappointment to his mother and to his children and to his other family, and as well as to the supporters that we've seen out here outside of the courthouse. But in terms of the legality of it, according to Attorney Jeremy Sallin, who we've been speaking with this hour, he said that this is fairly standard in terms of a conviction on these prostitution transportation charges, which are the 2 counts that Diddy was found guilty of. Now, what the big argument and the big push to keep him behind bars obviously came from the prosecutors. I'm sure it seemed that they were very upset about the verdict from the jury not getting that RICO case that they had pushed so hard for against the better advice of some in the legal community who didn't think that was appropriate in this particular circumstance. They also lost out on the sex trafficking. That was not guilty. And they said at this morning, the prosecution said, Your Honor, we need several hours to come back and consider bail. Otherwise, they would have just considered the bail, the bail application and the bail situation right there shortly after the verdict was read. That was not the case. They were granted all these extra hours, the extra afternoon. Sean Diddy Combs sitting in a holding cell all the while this afternoon while they're crafting these letters to the judge to explain their positions. And the defense was arguing his mother, who we've seen many times here on Fox 5 going in and out of court every single day to support her son. She's 85 years old. The argument of the defense was that he's her primary caregiver, and certainly he is the closest relative to her, and that he also has a 3-year-old baby daughter, baby love Seancombs, and that's her name. And so that was their argument, but the prosecution he still remains a danger. They wanted him behind bars until the sentencing, and this was, I'm sure, was devastating to Combs and many of the family who seemed elated. They were elated, in fact, when they heard those not guilty verdicts. But it's one more step, and as we've seen with Combs and other situations, once he's determined, he's going to see it through. The worst is over in one sense, in that he is no longer looking at life behind bars. On the other hand, his attorneys will have to file an appeal to this denial of bail. And remember, they had several bail applications throughout the course of the pre-trial conferences and after his arrest that were completely denied, and those were just eye-popping bail packages: $50 million, 24-hour armed guards, an Upper East Side apartment where there was limited access, no internet access for him, monitoring cameras, monitoring his activities, no guests allowed coming in, and that was denied. So we'll see what happens now, but this has to be a devastating blow for the family. The family's been very united and come together at this. We saw the 2 sprinters that have taken most of the family after 1 o'clock this afternoon, or a little bit earlier, a little bit after that, excuse me, after we found out that they found out the hearing would be at 5 o'clock. They all went out together to have lunch, or to have something to eat, if in fact they could do that. I'm sure many of them thinking, okay, you know what, Dad's coming home, my son's coming home, that type of thing, and he will not have to spend another night in the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, which is a place nobody wants to go. And so that's what it is. It's just a devastating blow for them. They went from this high this morning of realizing that there's just those 2 counts of the prostitution transportation that they're facing, and that that can be dealt with over time. That's a far cry, Bianca and Natasha, from looking at the possibility of life behind bars, which would have been with the RICO case and many decades on the sex trafficking case, because that also carries a very, very heavy penalty. But that's it for today so far. And then tomorrow the courtroom will be tomorrow the whole courthouse is on administrative leave, is on administrative closure, meaning that we're getting Excuse me one second. We're getting interference from all the helicopters up above. So tomorrow,
Lisa,
the courthouse that you see right behind me, where the trial's taking place and where this bail hearing just happened, that will be closed for an administrative closure. There will be no activity there, no scheduled activity there. Friday, the courthouse is federal holiday closed. It's always closed on Saturdays and Sundays. So there was obviously a pressure to get this decision in before the holiday weekend. And I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment all the way around that they just couldn't bring him home tonight. Natasha and Bianca?
Yeah, Lisa, you mentioned that the $50 million bail package, which is pretty extreme. Why was that not enough to convince the court to let him go on bond here, especially with all those other extra things you were talking about?
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry. Repeat that again?
The $50 million bond and bail package that you mentioned, including the other restrictions, those list of restrictions that you mentioned, you would think that that would be enough for a judge to say, all right, I can agree to this, but it wasn't. So there was a reason behind that. And why was that?
Yes. Well, the reason behind that, and that's a great question. What the reason behind that particular denial was the fact that the feds, when you're in prison or you're in jail, they're monitoring all your calls, and they tell you straight up, we're monitoring all your calls. The prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, Maureen Comey, told the judge that he had been using other people's phone privileges, because when you're a detainee, you only have a certain number of phone calls at a certain time, using other people's phone privileges to make calls to intimidate witnesses, and that this would not be allowed. And then, as we've heard throughout the day here today with some of our legal experts, that witness intimidation is a crime or an allegation they take extremely seriously here. But the question is that even a factor now, because he was not convicted of the sex trafficking or the RICO. So I'm sure it was very disappointing for the defense. For the prosecution, it was like, well, at least we got something, and they got the transportation for prostitution. But I think it was a big come down for the federal prosecutors. That's what pretty much every legal commentator and legal expert is telling us today. That's the latest here from federal court. Natasha and Bianca, back to you in the studio.
Yeah, definitely a high to a low. All right, Lisa, thank you very much. And keep watching Fox.
Well, y'all, there y'all have it. So they decided not to let him go, which I am so surprised. As y'all heard the journalist say, he wasn't convicted of those crimes. I thought it would be different, but now I'm starting to think this judge is a little bit biased, because if he wasn't convicted of that crime, why do y'all keep saying all of this stuff? Like, you just can't make up shit and say, well, I think you're going to intimidate people. There's nobody to intimidate. He was not convicted of that. So I don't know. This is given. They better reach out to Donald Trump maybe and get a pardon, because the simple fact that you're going to make the man stay in jail when he wasn't convicted of those crimes that you say, that the prosecution was saying that they knew they were going to be able to convict him of, is given that, I don't know how much time they may give him. I know with each case, it does carry a maximum of 10 years. He, has never been convicted of that or anything. So you would think that, he would, maybe get 3-4 years or something. But I don't know. This judge is really giving me bias. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, people writing letters telling, I'm scared. He does not have a life sentence. At some point, he's going to get out. So I don't know why this is still a point of contention. Y'all testified, and now you're saying you're scared. Go get a security guard or something. Like, he shouldn't have to be locked up because you say you scared. This man is not thinking about you. I'm more than sure that he just wants to get back to his family. So this is a dirty game that they're playing. And hopefully y'all black men learn a lesson, because what they do to these other races, they ain't gonna do to y'all. They're not going to do to y'all, because, everybody got this perception, even when I read the comments of of how much of a dirty person Diddy is. Y'all kind of got to separate the two. Let's say he a dirty, filthy person. I mean, unfortunately, you can't be charged with a crime for being a nasty, filthy, low down person. So I think people saying, oh, he's such a bad person, leave him and just leave him in there. Y'all sound crazy. Y'all sound extremely crazy. But I also don't understand. Y'all so mad like y'all met the man before. Like, is that like a mental illness or something? Because how could y'all be so mad about somebody that you never even smelled in your life? And then if he's found not guilty, is y'all saying that is not guilty because it's him, or it don't apply to him, or y'all were just going to accept it if it was guilty? Like, I don't understand what y'all trying to do. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he was found guilty of 2 charges. That's true. He was definitely found guilty of 2 charges. So this is what makes me kind of understand this Diddy stuff. He was convicted of, essentially it was 2 women. So the 2 women, which is the 2 you see on the screen, he was convicted of, you know, trafficking them, and then the transportation, right? So although he didn't get convicted of the RICO, the trafficking stuff, he got convicted of the transportation piece. That was it. So essentially, the jury did not believe their story. And y'all got to understand, you know, you're a pretty woman, you get up there and listen, the jury didn't believe Cassie, and she was pregnant. Now, y'all got to like, they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. You see what I'm saying? They did not believe it. And it seems like it's some mad ass people. They're very mad. And hopefully they can reach out to Trump and give him a pardon, because I don't trust it. It just seems like, you know, the prosecutors are bitter. It's crazy when they only accept justice when it's the justice that they want. Right, right. Look how long. And then another thing, can y'all please stop comparing Diddy to R. Kelly? Because they ran this campaign on this man lying, talking about he was involved with children. That was a whole lie. If there were children, we would knew about him because he would have been charged with it. So they ran this smear campaign lying, talking about children. So that it's not the same. And then if you guys knew anything about the R. Kelly case, those women was in the house with R. Kelly and said that they couldn't leave. That's not the same. These women had their own places. We do know what the jury believed because they found them not guilty. They didn't believe these 2. It's common sense. I get it. Everybody don't have common sense. So you believe that the jury believed he did these things, but let him free. The jury didn't believe these 2, Cassie and Jane Doe. They didn't believe the story. Right. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. No comparison. The law never said that fake stories were created by people like you and other media. I just like the baby oil. Bitch, I didn't create nothing, ho. Get the fuck out of my bye, ho. It was created by your mammy, and you can go. You hoes need to find something better to do. Get out of my chat, retard. But anywho, I also believe the government thought that video of Diddy. Now we all saw it was a horrible video. People, and I, like I said, including the government, I think the government thought releasing that video was gonna make everybody hate Diddy, and it did. But still, that's domestic violence. You cannot put somebody in prison for the rest of their life for domestic violence. If that's the case, y'all better start building more prisons, because it's a lot of people out here putting their hands on women. Now, I don't think it's right, but we got to do the right thing. You can't put somebody in prison for the rest of their lives without, I mean, for something like that. And for those of you that think that the jury believed Cassie, if you think the jury believed Cassie, Cassie got on the stand and told us that Diddy, the video that we saw of him dragging her, that he was forcing her to go back to a freak off. The jury didn't believe it. The jury didn't believe it, because if the jury believed it, then why didn't they convict him of it? They didn't believe it. I mean, hello. Did you guys know, and I said this before, every member of the jury was a college graduate. So what that means is, you know, probably a little bit smarter. So the jury didn't believe what Cassie had to say, because if the jury believed it, and we saw that video where he was dragging her back to the freak off, so she say, why didn't they convict him of it? Why didn't they convict him of it? Y'all got to stop believing people just because they cute and because they know how to lie. And then people will say, oh, you got to believe victims. Yeah, you should believe a victim. But the thing about it, everybody that say they are victim, they not a victim. And Cassie is a liar. She definitely is a liar. Yes, they did play that. And you know what else tapes they played in court? They played the sex tapes. So imagine telling the jury that you were forced to do something, but yet they're watching the videos and you look like you was well into it, okay? You don't got the stank face. You look like you are so into it. The jury didn't believe it because, I mean, if y'all recall, they did play those tapes in court. We were not able to see it. In fact, what they said is when they played the tapes, they played it with only the jury. The jury were the only ones that could hear it. Y'all remember that somebody said that whoever they were listening to it, they had the headphones on and you can hear moaning, and said the judge was like, can you please turn that down? So the jury saw it all. They saw it all. They just didn't believe it. Right. He wasn't on trial for domestic violence, but for some reason, that was kind of where they went wrong, because they wanted to put him in jail for the rest of his life. They should have just charged him with what he did. They should have just charged him with what he did. I think Alex Fine and Cassie had been plotting a long time. Listen, I said this in my previous video. Let me just tell you something. I don't remember what I did last week. I literally have a notebook. Let me show y'all. I write down shit all the time because I can't remember. Okay. So throughout this case, one thing Cassie had is the dates. She knew everything that happened, exactly when it happened. Not only did she know the correct dates when things happened, Cassie had the bruises to prove it. So imagine what that would mean. That would mean, to me, I said Cassie was planning this the whole time, because if you get in a fight with your boyfriend or significant other, I mean, now you might be taking a picture just because people take pictures, but back then people were not taking pictures of stuff like this. Cassie had bruises, and not only did she take pictures, her mama took pictures, and they in fact said that they wanted it for evidence. So I believe that this was something that she was planning the entire time. I just believe, you know, that it was something she was planning the entire time. I mean, it doesn't make it right for her to be beat, but I feel like her involvement is more than people are understanding. I mean, even right now, where he done went through the trial, you know, they have pretty much stated that he's not guilty. She's still reaching out to the judge. That's weird. Like, why she's not moving on with her life, with her baby? You got a new baby. Why are you so invested? So she's writing letters to the judge? How crazy is that? Why is she not moving on with her life? That's why I'm saying I don't believe Cassie. I don't believe Cassie. I don't care what these people think. They can go straight to hell. I don't believe. I don't remove myself from the thing by accident, but yeah, I don't believe everything Cassie says. I do believe, you know, that there was you know, physical abuse. Obviously, you know, we saw that, but I believe that this was something that she had been planning. I just do. I really believe that this was something that Cassie had planned. I had saw something that I was trying to put on the screen and somehow I kicked myself out. Okay. Claudia said, right. It's men and women out here doing it every day. but they're not rich. Celebrity status, and they're not Diddy. The feds want to see another brother lose everything. Hard for since day one. Well, the thing of it is as you can see with this trial, they don't want to let Diddy go. It's just like they don't want to let him go. So I don't know what sentencing is going to look like for him, because the judge is saying pretty much that he's violent, but generally to say somebody is violent, they have to have a past. Now I get it. We see the video where he's beating Cassie, but at what point do we move past that? Like, he's gonna have to get out, at some point. So I guess I don't understand why we're still talking about that. So it's a little weird. It's a little weird. So we'll have to kind of see how this is going to play out with regards to him getting out. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe Trump will give him a pardon. This law is for Black people only, period. It's for this reason right here. You know what? I am starting to think now, based on what this judge just did, I don't know what the sentencing is going to be. Now, I do know a little bit about federal courts and how they sentence with regards to different things. So I don't know. I saw I think it was a lawyer said that based on his background and stuff, because the lawyer simply said they really can't use he was violent in the past because it's really not on his record. They said based on everything and what he was charged with, they see it being about maybe 2 years, but I don't know. So you say Diddy is dangerous to society. So where and how are you basing that information on? Like, where did you get that from? Are you just talking about rumors? Because I want to know what you're talking about when you say he dirty is dangerous to society. Like, do you have facts, or are you just going on pretty much gossip? Because that's you don't have any facts. Another person trying to lock a Black man up based on something that you don't even know about. Okay. She's determined to get him. She's determined to get him. You need to take notes, bro, unless your ass was in on it too. He always been a bad boy since 1990. I mean, but I can say, yeah, I heard stuff about Diddy, but to say that, y'all just be making up shit. I mean, this is no time to play with somebody like this. Man has a real life, and y'all talking about all of this stuff that just don't really matter at this point. Cassie threatened to delete somebody. Why y'all ain't talking about that? They got her own recorder saying that she was going to delete somebody. What about that? Somebody said, I think Diddy will be sentenced to 5 years. I don't know. The judge, this judge is, I don't know. This judge is kind of weird. I mean, we'll see. We will see. I mean, even if he is sentenced to 5 years, at some point he gonna leave. So these people, or even the judge and the prosecution saying that they're afraid, like, y'all act like this man got like a whole bunch of time to do. So I'm just like, huh? I don't know. It just seems too much. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Nicole. Diddy's lawyers proved that. They were staying with, I don't remember if it was her parents or his parents, but pretty much they said that around the time that all of this came along was during the time that she was, they were down on their luck. And that's the thing. They're not utilizing their common sense. I mean, if people use their common sense, do you think this man would jeopardize his freedom? They don't care. They don't care. In fact, I think it seemed like they mad. It just seems like the people want to just keep the poor man in jail for the rest of his life. I mean, he was found not guilty. He was found not guilty. Like, he didn't get convicted of that. So I don't know what the big scare is. Cassie's so scared of him, so she say, but yet she sued him. He was out. I mean, he didn't do nothing to you then. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, you know, Cassie, she really has a hard on for Diddy, for a woman that has, have, 3 children. She married, she's still on this Diddy kick. So I just don't understand. He was such a horrible person, let them tell it, but they still is, all over here trying to do too much of nothing. He was found guilty of 2 charges. Let him do his time. Yeah, let him do his time. That's all I'm saying. Like, what the heck? He was found guilty of the 2 charges, but it seemed like they want him to be guilty of all the charges. So I'm just like, what is we doing here? These emotional opinions are jarring. Use facts, not feelings. It was proven in court that he wasn't no longer a danger to anyone. If that was the case, the jury would have taken that into consideration in the deliberation. That's what I would have thought. That's what I would have thought. But they're still bringing up this stuff that he was found not guilty of. So I'm just like, I know Diddy's attorney is freaking pissed. Rachel Jackson, the evidence wasn't there. Those women lied. Listen, let me play this for you, Rachel. Let me play this for you, Rachel. Let me play this little snippet for you. And this is what I've been saying the entire time. I love when I find things that kind of back up what I'm saying. They lied and the jury didn't believe them. The jury didn't believe them. Wait a minute, this is just spinning. The jury didn't
to convict someone who's on a video beating the living snot out of the woman. That tells you all you need to know about the case. The media and people, lawyers, plaintiffs' lawyers who wanted to sue him said, oh, she's so convincing. It's hard to feel sorry for a woman who's instructing a sex worker on how to urinate in their mouth and telling her how to do it. And the Punisher, who I think is just an absolute star, explained this in to such a point of view, I would threw my hands up because I literally go, I don't know, you can't have better testimony than that, other than when Jane said she thought that P. Diddy was a cuckold. And if the prosecution, if they didn't think they had to do it, the defense didn't think they had to do it, they could have called, any head of the human sexuality department and said, tell us about the swingers lifestyle, tell us about water games, tell us about this, put on the videos. That's clearly what it was. We don't have to guess because the jury has told us they believed what the defense team put out there.
Hello, the jury believed the defense. They did not believe Cassie. Even after seeing the video, they believed that she was a willing participant. They watched the videos. Cassie is, I'm sure, engaged because they didn't believe it. They did not believe it.
And Tenny Garagos from the very beginning set the stage for this, the tenor. This is all consensual. It's nothing coerced. And the jury believed every single word of it.
Yeah.
The 2 convictions are just based upon plane tickets and receipts. That's all. It literally didn't need any testimony from any of the 2 alleged victims. And I don't know why we're calling them, well, other than the videotape. In this case, they were.
So did y'all get that? Me and him thinking the same. Stop calling them victims. He was not convicted of that. The jury didn't buy it, y'all. Like, come on now. He even said Diddy was convicted of nothing related to them 2 idiots. He wasn't convicted of it. So that should tell you a lot. It should give you all that you need. And the conviction that he received had nothing to do with their testimony. They didn't even need to testify for them to convict him of that, because for one, they had his records, his American Express. They said he paid for some of this on his American Express. So they just wasn't believable. The jury didn't buy it. They didn't buy it.
Were found not to be victims. They were found to be incredible witnesses, and the evidence from their own mouths and their own fingertips and their own text messages proved that they shouldn't be believed, and the jury obliged them. And
did y'all hear that? I know y'all heard that. The jury didn't buy it. Like, they're not victims. They're not. I know it sounds, it's a great, I don't know if it's a great story, but you know, a woman that says she was a victim, I know y'all want to believe it, but sometimes people, they're not honest. And what Cassie said was a lie. The only people that believed that was her lawyer, and some of the people who, you know, the Diddy haters, but nobody, they didn't buy it. I mean, y'all gotta understand, they watched the tapes of them having sex. They didn't buy it. She's not a victim. Just because he wasn't convicted doesn't make the women not victims. They wasn't victims in this case. Now they may be a victim in another case. And frankly, if they are victims, they didn't, I guess they had a hard time proving it because nobody believed them. And it don't matter if they're women or men, a victim is a victim, but Cassie wasn't a victim in this case, and neither was Jane Doe. I'll tell you what they were, K Price. They were hoes. They were hoes because Diddy was convicted of you know, like sex working. So that would mean that they were hoes. That's what they were. You know, I know you probably don't like it, but oh well, it is what it is. They were hoes. They were not victims. I don't know. Does that make y'all feel better just to call people victims? They were not victims. I mean, it is what it is. They were not victims, and I don't care who like it and who don't. They wasn't. Right. Like y'all act like y'all like how was they victims? Like, come on, let's just be honest. Like, listen, when I started watching this trial, I was like, damn, Diddy, you done had these women locked up. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. I'm a little bit confused. I'm not saying that, you know, Diddy is this perfect person. I mean, we done saw him drag Cassie. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is he didn't do this. So it seems like people are so mad with Diddy because they feel like he done got, you know, he done got away with all these things. Well, I guess they need to go back and whatever he did, get him for that because he didn't do this. Girl, there was never no children. There goes the lies. Where are the children? You see, these are the lies that y'all create. Where are the lies that he never had any children? Stop with the lies. There you go, making up lies. Where are the children that he had in his mansion? Girl, stop with these lies. That man never. So do you think that he had that going on and that they wouldn't have charged him with that? That is you making up lies. The man never had any children. Just stop the lies. And this is why he was, you know, proven to be innocent, because a lot of this stuff is lies and it can't be proven. No, he didn't have any children in his. He wasn't messing with no kids. The audacity of 50 Cent baby mama to testify. You know what? If he don't take that whole rent off of auto pay and send her and her son back to the street and let his daddy pay for him, I would have been took her off. I would have been took her off. Let her go sell that wore out cat to somebody else, because I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's selling it right now. Right? Cassie was smart enough when she got in the relationship and she went after what she wanted. She was a willing participant. She most definitely was a willing participant. Before Cassie got with Diddy, she was talking to a older man. So some people are like, oh, Diddy groomed her. Diddy didn't groom that girl. She was already talking to older men. What's his name? Ryan Leslie, I think. He was 10 years older than her. He was 10 years older than her. Cassie is not who y'all trying to make her out to be. Right. And then they making up these lies talking about the man. Y'all will make up lies and promulgate lies. Do you really think that it was some children and that they stop with these lies? Y'all got to stop. Y'all got to stop. Stop spreading these lies on people. If there was a remnants of a child, baby, they would have loved that. That was all lies. That was just spread. That was never truthful. You know, y'all, and another thing about Cassie. Why is it that y'all think Cassie is so innocent? Think about it. Cassie had a man, Ryan, when she met Diddy. She starts screwing Diddy behind his back, okay? Now, I'm not saying this in the proper order. I'm just saying it as I remember some of the things. Diddy hooks her up with, what's the dude name who they saying Diddy burnt up his car? 𝐬𝐝𝐫𝐞. Diddy hooks her up with 𝐃𝐶 to do a music video, whatever. She starts screwing 𝐃𝐶. So y'all act like she is so innocent. I mean, listen, if I'm a cheat on somebody that I'm with, I'm not going to cheat with the person that they introduced me with. That's kind of crazy. Now, Diddy gets this woman a personal trainer, which is the man she married to now, and she starts screwing him. So why do y'all think that she's such a good girl when she is seeming like she a little Diddy herself? Right. We need to stop doing this to men, because imagine if this was our son, exactly, or our cousin. And this is my issue with it. Whenever a woman says something, y'all don't check the facts. They don't listen to what she's saying. They just automatically say he did it. Cassie had so many damn holes in this story that it did not make any sense. Exactly. If Cassie was right with exactly. Cassie's story, I'm telling you, I'm not saying that I don't believe when people say that they've been abused, but we all deserve to answer a few questions. I mean, the simple fact that you say somebody argued you and you came back, how do you get violated by somebody and then go back and sleep with them again? Like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. But Nicole, he wasn't convicted of sex trafficking, though. So it doesn't matter what that carries. You know, he wasn't convicted of that. He wasn't convicted of that. So it's like y'all be thinking, I don't know what y'all be thinking, but the fact of the matter is Cassie lied. You said turn on CNN. Okay, let me look at CNN. Okay. Cassie lied. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's going on CNN. You said CNN? What they saying? Which one? Okay, maybe this one.
The lesser charges in the government's case against him, finding him not guilty of the three biggest and most consequential charges. Do we have Elizabeth Wagmeister yet? Okay, so let's get straight to CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who's outside the court, along with Laura Coates. Laura, this is a surprising development. What are we learning? What are the judge's reasons for not letting him out?
Well, we are still learning all the reasons why the judge has denied bail to Sean Diddy Combs pending his sentencing. That can be an indication of a number of things. Remember, the prosecution is intending to ask for jail time in this matter. Each of those charges could provide 10 years in prison. The sentencing guidelines will obviously dictate to what extent that will be followed. Those are the maximum. It is the ceiling, not the floor. But given the number of offenses he has failed to have in the past and the corresponding ways in which you judge someone's category that they're in for the ultimate decision of sentencing, it could be far less than that. I will say, of course, that the judge, by making this statement, essentially is giving a bit of a heads up that perhaps jail time is in fact what he will actually hand down to Sean Diddy Combs when the sentencing does in fact occur. I will also say that this indicates that the judge believed that there were no conditions of release that could have been met that would have satisfied the court in terms of whatever pending threat there may have been to society or the witnesses or victims in this case that as alleged, and that the conditions of release, including a passport being removed, no access to a flight, living in places other than New York, all these things could have been a part of it. You have additional information as well in terms of the why.
You know, we don't have the why quite yet. We are waiting from our team inside the courtroom. But when you said that part of the reason why could be that the judge perhaps believes that Combs could be a threat to society or the other witnesses, it reminded me of a letter letter that Cassie Ventura's attorney submitted just hours ago opposing him being released on bail. Jake, I want to read you a quote from his letter. It says, quote, Ms. Ventura believes that Mr. Combs is likely to pose a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself, as well as to the community. Now, before this trial began, Laura, we remember that there were 3 attempts at bail from Combs's defense, all of which were denied by 3 different judges, one of them being the judge who is overseeing this case. Now, part of the reasons why the prosecution had alleged that he was tampering with witnesses, that he was trying to manipulate witnesses from behind bars. The prosecution had said at one point that Seancombs was paying inmates at the MDC to use their phones in jail. So that was one of the reasons why the judge denied bail before the trial, as he was awaiting this trial. But again, we don't know the reasons yet.
A perfect segue here, Jake, as well, because we're learning that the judge says this on the bench, essentially that he had denied bail when it wasn't mandatory before the trial, and, quote, sees no reason to reach the opposite conclusion now. He's also quoting the defense at different instances when Combs' own lawyers acknowledged his violence towards his former girlfriends during the trial, saying at trial, the defense conceded defendants' violence in personal relationships, saying it happened in relation to Cassie Ventura and Jane. This is very important because, remember, one of the things that was said in the opening statement by 𝐼𝐻𝐻 is that they own the violence, that they admitted to what was seen in that now infamous exclusive video obtained by CNN for the Intercontinental Hotel, where there was a savage assault against Cassie Ventura. And of course, the defense, the prosecution during trial said, well, domestic violence is not a defense of sex trafficking. Well, he wasn't convicted on that. But you can better believe that the notice from Cassie's attorney and others probably weighed very heavily on this judge's mind.
And Elizabeth, you spoke with Cassie's attorney. We're going to bring some of that interview later in the show. But it has to be pretty difficult for someone like Cassie, who came forward to tell her story, to tell it in such a graphic and revealing and vulnerable way, and then have a jury of her peers basically say, we don't believe you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, Jake, so I know that we are going to get more of this interview a bit later in the show, but I will tell you that her attorney, Douglas Wigdor, did tell me that he believes that the jury actually did believe Cassie and did believe her core allegations, just that the burden is very high for these federal crimes, and that he believes that the jury ultimately did not see a way to meet this charge because, again, that the jury did not believe that the prosecutors met their burden of proof, but that he does believe that Cassie was believed. He also said that Cassie is very proud of herself. This was traumatic for her to testify, but it was also cathartic. She can now move on. We know that she is a mother of 3, a newborn at home. She was 8 months pregnant, testifying in this trial, had her 3rd child shortly after she got off the stand. So she's really focused on family. Her attorney told me that she has a great support system, not just her family, but also she is in therapy. She has great resources now. And he said, you never heal from this. It'll take a lifetime to heal, but she's well into that process. So it sounds like she is doing okay. Her attorney actually told me, don't worry about Cassie.
Stacey, in denying bail, the judge quoted the defense at different instances in the trial when Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers acknowledged his acts of violence towards former girlfriends during the trial. And to be clear, this was not a domestic violence case. So their acknowledgement of that, especially when there was video of him beating up Cassie Ventura, was an attempt to get ahead of that judgment. What do you make of the judge's reasoning? Essentially, he's been violent to these women before. I see no reason why he wouldn't do it again.
Well, I think the judge can't unhear the testimony that he heard in the trial. And also, the judge pointed out that the defense attorneys during the trial admitted that their client was violent and had issues and problems and flaws, and that these were terrible situations. But again, the defense was saying it was domestic violence. I think the judge could have gone the other way here, because the jury did acquit him of the racketeering and the sex trafficking counts, which would involve alleged acts of violence. And the jury found that he wasn't guilty of any of that. He was just found guilty of transporting individuals across state lines to engage in prostitution. So what is his risk to the community on that? The problem is, I think 𝐃𝐶𝐳 letter might have had an effect on the judge. The judge feels that he needs to protect the community from Seancombs. But in the end, Seancombs might not get that steep of a sentence out of this conviction, and he'll eventually be released from jail with credit for the 10 months he's already done in, and he'll be back out in the community after the case. I can't imagine a defendant who's just gone through a trial like Seancombs went through, where everything that happened behind closed doors was now exposed to the nation, and it was a heinous exposure, that he wouldn't be on best behavior, not even to get a traffic infraction if he was released on bail. So I'm a little bit surprised that the judge didn't give him some leeway. So now he'll remain at the Metropolitan Detention Center, where Luigi Mangione is also housed.
And Joey, the judge also said there was violence and illegal conduct after the searches on Sean Diddy Combs' homes. When he was aware he was under investigation, the judge saying, quote, "This highlights a disregard for the rule of law and a propensity of violence," unquote. Is that a common reason to deny bail?
So there's two ways of looking at this, Jake. The first way is that clearly there's a changed circumstance here. There's no way out of that fact. The fact is that initially when bail was imposed and when he was going through, that is Mr. Combs, the iterations of the first time, then the second time he appealed, 3 different times, judge saying no, he was facing life in jail. He was facing a minimum of 15 years with respect to sex trafficking. That now has not happened. And so what we're looking at is a different universe. And so looking at it from that perspective, you can look at it from 2 reasons. Number one, is he a flight risk? Would he really be a flight risk under these circumstances where his passport's taken, he knows he's facing sentencing, you can put in.
So somebody put in the chat, why is Cassie's domestic violence case being brought up? He was never charged with that. I agree. It's real simple here, y'all. They don't want to let him out. It's real simple because they keep talking about domestic violence. Y'all, I believe that video was probably, oh my God, wasn't it like 6 years ago? That was a long time ago. Like, why are we still talking about that? The fact that, you know, he hit Cassie, that is so long ago. When are we going to get over that? The man ain't going to go to jail for the rest of his life. So I'm just not understanding, why are we still talking about that? Exactly, Rachel. Yeah, that's who said that. I know somebody said that. It was Diddy's bodyguard. It wasn't Rod. I think it was Roger Bond said that they both were fighting each other. Well, y'all know how it go. Whenever it comes to a man, especially a black man, you know, and especially when the folks look white, they gonna always go with them. And, you know, like I said, they just don't want to let him out because they're bringing up so many things that just don't relate to this case. In fact, they keep bringing up victims, and according to the jury, they were not victims. So we're going to have to use the proper words for these things because they're not victims. And now I'm noticing that people are now coming out saying Cassie is not a victim. So let's get into it. People are saying that Cassie is no victim. So let's get into one of these posts here where, let's see, they're saying that Cassie is no victim. Absolutely, she's not a victim. So it looks like Funk Flex says Cassie is, wait a minute, can y'all see that? Okay. Funk Flex says he doesn't see Cassie as a victim after Diddy partial guilty verdict. So what y'all finna start saying is people finna start flipping on Cassie because Cassie ain't a victim. Here's the deal. Everybody or whoever thought that he was going to be convicted of this, he wasn't convicted of it. So therefore it makes you not a victim, ma'am. Now, his statement comes after Cassie urged the judge to deny Diddy bond following his conviction on charges of transporting women for the cases of SEX. While he was acquitted of SEX trafficking and racketeering, the remaining convictions could still carry serious penalties. In a lengthy Instagram post, the Hot 97 DJ offered sympathy, but also sharp criticism. What he said is, think Cassie has been through a lot. She is such a nice person. I hope her and her family overcome all of the pain they are going through. This is what he wrote. However, Flex questioned her credibility. He's questioning her credibility, y'all. This is what I keep saying. Cassie ain't right. She's not right. Her credibility is not right. He's questioning her credibility, referencing past settlement rumors. You threatened to drop a book, then got paid out to not drop the book. I don't see you as a victim, he concluded by urging accountability. When do you plan to teach girls not to make the same mistake you made? Hello. I feel it because listen, y'all, Cassie ain't no damn victim. There are victims, but she ain't one of them. You said how many other? Cassie wasn't a victim. Girl, bye. If you dumb, I'm just gonna kick you out. Get out of my chat. She wasn't a victim. He was not convicted of that. So if you want to run to that with that narrative, run somewhere else with it, because you're not going to be over in my chat lying. He was found not guilty. So how is she a victim when he was found not guilty? Cassie was doing the same damn thing he was doing. That is what she was doing. Y'all run over here with this bullshit. And then it's really crazy because I just saw a post where yungmiami, she made a post or she put a heart up or something, and they dragged yungmiami. So why do y'all drag the hell out of yungmiami? Why y'all not dragging lion ass Cassie? Why don't you drag her? Why don't you drag Cassie? So people are starting to see that Cassie is a liar. She was a co-conspirator. She was with the bullshit. She was with the freak-offs. She was with it. And y'all know what? If Diddy would have married her, or if Diddy would have took Cassie serious, he wouldn't even be in this situation. He wouldn't be in this situation. Cassie is bitter. She's mad. That's what that is. It's bitter and it's mad. Think about it. Cassie has a whole husband. Tell me about the time you and your ex broke up and you got with a new man and you still thinking about your ex. She bitter. Girl, move on with your life. This man has not been convicted of what you said he did to you. The jury didn't believe it, boo. Move on. She's still writing letters to the judge. She's still writing letters to the judge. What is that? She's bitter. That's giving bitter, because guess what, Cassie? You are a liar. You're not scared of him because first of all, this is how you know Cassie is a liar and she's not afraid of Diddy. Diddy was free when she sued him. So if he was going to do something to her, wouldn't he have did it then? Huh? Wouldn't he have did it then? Girl, this man is not thinking about you. Cassie waited years to come forward. Right. She was jealous. She was hating. When Diddy popped out with yungmiami, oh, she couldn't take it. She couldn't take it. She's bitter. She's mad. She wanted to send this man to prison for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life. For doing the exact thing that she wanted to do. Because if you say he forced you, you did not provide enough evidence, because the jury of 12 people didn't believe you, Cassie. Not only did the jury not believe you, they didn't believe that other hoe either. Because this is what y'all do. If you're going to say somebody did something to you and stuff does happen, don't be a willing participant. Like, you are a willing participant. It was so many text messages where they were sending Diddy the message talking about, I want to freak off. What? How? You want to blame Diddy. What about the times that you said you wanted to freak off? Huh? Right. She's no victim. Cassie is no victim. Cassie is bitter. She's mad. Think about it. Think about it. You with a rich nigga. I mean, he rich. You broke up. Y'all not together no more. He living his life and you over here struggling. I guess you would be mad. I guess you would. And then you come back years later? How you come back years later? Years later. And talking about all of these things happen to you. When did you realize that? When did you realize that all of these things happened to you, Cassie? According to Diddy's attorneys, you realized it because your ass had got broke. That's when you realized it. Right. Well, here's the deal, Special K. Diddy never settled with her. And I didn't know this. So this is how Cassie ended up getting paid. She sued Diddy's company. So Diddy's company settled. And the remarkable part is Cassie is always doing these interviews saying he settled in 24 hours. Diddy didn't settle shit in 24 hours. His companies, you know, your companies, they have insurance policies. So when I had my business, my insurance, if somebody slipped down and fell, they don't need to call me. They call insurance. I'll give you an example. I had a bus driver. He got in an accident. That joker never even told me. He went and sued my insurance company. I never knew anything about it until they sent me something like, tell us about this man. And I'm like, well, why? And they was like, he filed a claim and said he was in an accident. So I'm telling the insurance company, I said, that's crazy. I said, he had an accident in my bus, never even told me. Because I had insurance. He reached right out to my insurance company. So the deal with Cassie, she sued the insurance company. The insurance company settled. Diddy didn't settle, but they settled on behalf of Diddy. They are gold diggers because tell me, how are you SEX trafficked, but he giving you $10,000 to pay this? Diddy still was paying Jane Doe's attorney. Man, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is it's all about money. And this is why they were so jealous of the other women. You got Cassie jealous of Kim. And they also said in that hotel where her and Diddy got into it, they said that was because of a text message, because Kim had told him to bring his tail home and he was ready to get up out of there. And she testified that she was jealous. Huh? You jealous of another woman that your man is seeing? You need to get your whole life together. You need to get your entire life together. And now for this one, y'all, I gotta say, allegedly. Did y'all hear that Cassie is allegedly supposed to be getting sued here within the next few weeks by one of those workers? Did y'all hear that? Because I heard that. I don't know how true it is. I don't know how true it is, but they say Cassie has a lawsuit coming. And the judge definitely seemed biased. And I'm going to tell you why. The judge, the previous time, said he was not going to let Diddy out based on his charges and based on the government saying that they felt they had a pretty good case. He also said because Diddy had been contacting witnesses. Now, this is what Diddy had did. Like, he had been trying to reach people. He wasn't saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to knock you upside your head. I mean, if somebody going to testify on you, don't you want to talk to him? That was really all he was doing. It was nothing that would put a witness, life or anything in jeopardy. So I feel like that was overkill. Now that he has been found not guilty, they still talking about this same shit. I really feel like the judge is biased, and I really feel like they need to reach out to Donald Trump and get a pardon. That's what I feel like he needs to do. He's been in there long enough. I mean, Diddy, so generally when they put people in jail or prison, Diddy didn't do like a violent crime. So it's not like, well, he wasn't convicted of a violent crime. So it's not like there needs to be a period of incarceration. Incarceration would not do anything for him. So I don't understand why it just can't be time served. The government wants to bring this man down, and that's just that. This has nothing to do with the crimes that he committed or anything. This is solely, I want to bring him down. And I wish that, you know, he can get a pardon, because it seems ugly. Right. And you know what? So let me put this one comment on the screen. You said, so it should be consequences behind this for the women. It should be so easy. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so easy to lie. When you're a woman, it's so easy to just lie. And, you know, some women can be so manipulative because they know they can do this. And this is exactly what Cassie did. And you know what I loved about the Punisher? He was very believable. And he said, absolutely not. He said, based on what I saw, she wanted it. Cassie, girl, you wanted it. Quit these lies. Y'all remember when social media drugged Slim Thug for saying that apartment must be small when Cassie sued? I don't get it. That apartment must be small? I don't know what that, I'm missing it. When the husband eat off the millions, he is going to leave her. That will, people predicted that. That's not gonna last. I feel like the girl is still in love with Diddy. I feel like she loves Diddy. If y'all listen to her testimony in court, they asked her, did she love him? And it seemed like she was almost gonna say yes. And then she said something about she loved the time that they spent together. She's obsessed with him, just like the rest of them. And the fact of the matter is, they were motivated because they felt rejected. Rejection is a hell of a, a lot of people can't take it. Meaning she needed that money to get a bigger apartment. Okay. Y'all remember when social media drugged Thug for saying that apartment must be small? Oh, well, they said that she was struggling during the time that she decided to sue Diddy. They said Cassie and her kids, I don't know how many she had. I don't know if she just had the one or the two, but they said she was living with either her, I think they said her mother, if I'm not mistaken. But if y'all recall, when Cassie was on stage, they was really trying to be nice to her, probably because she was pregnant. But here's the deal, y'all. Cassie got on stage pregnant and they still didn't believe shit she had to say. The jury didn't believe her. Cassie's lawyers talking about the jury did. No, they did. If the jury believed her, then why wasn't Puffy convicted? I mean, you got a big black man, you know, with a little white looking girl. They didn't convict them. They didn't believe it. They didn't believe her. It's simple. The jury didn't buy it. They didn't believe it. Somebody says, who's suing her? Okay, Special K. I saw on another content creator thing that they were saying that they had information that Cassie, you know, Diddy's, you know, ex is going to get sued by one of those SEX workers. That's what I heard. I don't know. That's why I got to say allegedly, but that's what they've been saying. That there's supposed to be some kind of lawsuit that's coming out and that she's going to be sued. Special K says she was living with her husband, parents in Texas. Then they moved to California with her parents. Right. Okay. So they were living with somebody. Can y'all make sure y'all hitting the like button, please? But I heard something about that she has a lawsuit coming. She has a lawsuit coming and there's a potential lawsuit. But these people are mad. Like, they just hate this man. I'm just like, oh my gosh. They hate Diddy. So if y'all can please hit the like button, I really, really appreciate it. Wait, she said she loves the time they spent together. Yeah, she said that. So the question was asked, like, did she love him? And she stumbled and she said she loved the time that they spent together. So, I mean, and keep in mind, the jury, before making a decision, They went and got the transcript. And that's why everybody was like, oh, shoot, why they asking for that? They went and got the transcript. They wanted to look at the situation surrounding the hotel situation and surrounding that. It was another worker that stated that he had heard Diddy slapping and beating on Cassie. And I was like, oh, shoot, that's bad. That seemed like they're going to find a conviction. The jury didn't believe it. Like they come on now. They didn't believe it. Cassie's lawyer is saying the jury did believe her. The instructions were just too difficult. No, they didn't believe her because they asked questions. They didn't believe her. I wish he could get a pardon, but that would take even longer. Oh, no, it actually doesn't. He doesn't go back to court to October. So he can definitely get a pardon. It's really a stroke of a pen. That's all a pardon is. It doesn't take any time. Diddy's concubine wanted to be treated the way he took care of Kim. They will never have the bond in history Kim had. But isn't that weird to want to have a relationship with somebody else? That's just giving weird to me. Like, that's crazy. She loved the lifestyle and the money, and her husband didn't have it like that. Yeah, of course he didn't have it like that. That's why, you know, she's like, look, we're gonna sue him and get a little bit of his money. Yes, we have found out that bail has been denied, but somebody put in the chat that the judge said that he's going to relook at it. I don't think that's true. I don't think that they want him out. I think they want him to remain in jail until he's sentenced, which essentially says to me that they're definitely going to give him some prison time. There will be no time served. And I'm really starting to feel like this judge is very biased. That's why all these people are going after these rich black men. I just feel like the case was overkill. Now, being that he beat the RICO, he beat both trafficking cases, they still don't want to let him out, which is a clear indication that they're going to send him to prison. That's crazy to me. That's really crazy to me that they're going to send this man to prison for this. And it's contradictory of it all. The lies, because they didn't let her husband sit in while she was crying and telling how much she loved him. Still, after they showed her texting him. Hey, Boggs girl. Yeah, so I feel like just, you know, from everything that happened and them deciding not to let him out, I feel like they are definitely wanting to send him to prison. Diddy better get his people on it and have Trump to give him a pardon. It says, Combs tells his family, I love you all, be strong. Following his bail hearing, Sean Diddy Combs faced his family and told them, we're gonna make it through this. I'll see you when I get out, he added. Combs blew kisses to the two rows in the courtroom, filled with his family and friends. I love you all, he said, be strong. Just before being led out of the courtroom and back into the detention center, he said, I love you, Mom. Now, Combs' attorney said he'll get his life back. After the judge left the bench, defense attorneys Mark Agnifilo turned to Sean Diddy Combs supporters. He told them, United States Court for the Southern District of New York never loses racketeering cases. He told them that Combs showed up and he was not afraid. He'll get his life back, Agnifilo said. Winning is winning. You live your life and you live a good life. Yep. So I don't think they're gonna let him out on he's gonna have to stay in until sentencing. Nina, you say, I hope he gets the maximum time. He's a monster. So what do you know that he did? Or are you just talking based on what you hear on the internet? Or possibly you've had your own trauma and you're projecting it onto him? Because y'all really be looking crazy in the comments saying these things as if y'all know this person personally. It looked crazy. I'm just telling you, you might want to stop doing that. It looks real crazy. You don't even know this man. Oh, he's a monster. I hope he gets you don't even know him. Like, how do you know? He was found not guilty, Nina. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, so I think he's going to definitely be sentenced to prison time, because if he wasn't, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You said October 3rd, but who knows, y'all? Maybe somebody will go reach out to Donald Trump. Now, if we see the kids celebrating with Donald Trump, we know what's going to happen. But in all honesty, I mean, nobody wants to go to prison, but based on what they're saying, he would get, I don't know, somebody said 2 years. I've heard 3. Somebody said 4. I've even heard 5. I don't think he would get 5 because that's half of what the sentence carries. So I don't know. Yep, the sentencing would be October the 3rd. And from what I'm reading, his attorneys is like, look, let's rush that because that's too long. Right. People need to adopt the mindset, right? It's based on a preponderance of evidence. You know, the crazy part though, people don't think about some of the stuff they say. So the not guilty verdict is guilty when you don't like the person. You don't like Puffy. Oh, it shouldn't be guilty. I mean, it shouldn't be not guilty. But then if the shoe were on the other foot and you was found not guilty, like, you got to make it make sense. Thank you, Nikki. Okay, thanks for the super chat, Nikki. Now, somebody said, I hope he's learned from his mistake. Yeah, I'll listen, I agree. But you know what? He ain't finna get no help in jail. He gonna have to wait till he get out because he ain't finna get nothing in there. You said don't say that. Yes. So the reason why, I said he's gonna get time, think about it. He went for a bail hearing today. They's talking about they're not gonna let him out because they fear that he's violent. Well, here's the deal. He's going to have to get out sometime. So I'm simply saying, if they're not going to let him out on bail until his sentencing date, it simply means that they're going to send him to prison. Because if they're not, then in October, he would be less violent because they're saying he's violent. So if they're not going to let him out now until he comes back to court, that is simply saying that they don't want to let him out in October. They're going to sentence him to prison. I mean, it's clear. It's clear. Like, they're saying, we're not going to let him out because we fear. I mean, this man ain't thinking about them people. Like, he literally could have spent the rest of his life in prison. He's not thinking about none of them. Like, I don't think that he's thinking about anybody other than getting back to his children. I'm just saying that because that's what it seems like. I mean, in all honesty, he got convicted of the lesser charges. It's not like it's a life sentence, but I simply feel like it should be time served. I mean, y'all done talked about all of this man's life and what he's doing in rooms, and he was found not guilty. So imagine having to now bear the world knowing about what you do behind closed doors. That's his business. Okay, Special K, you say Mark Agnifilo, they are meeting next week for another hearing. So are you saying like another hearing on bail? Okay. So Special K said that they're meeting next week for another hearing on bail. Judging from what I'm seeing, it don't seem like they trying to give him bail. It just don't seem like that. It just doesn't, because they keep bringing up a video of Cassie. Damn, that was a long time ago. I mean, his lawyers even admitted, you know, he had been messing around with drugs and stuff like that. I mean, not saying that it's an excuse, but at what point do we get past it? Then they're still bringing up phone calls in jail where he used somebody else's code. If y'all familiar with, you know, when people are in federal jail, they get so many minutes, and they all do it. Use other people's minutes. They act like that's something that's really something, like they're talking about bullshit. Exactly. This is what the government need to be talking about. All the money they spent on the case that they did not get a conviction. They're mad. They're mad. They are mad. But I feel like if they would have let the case been authentic, maybe we would have saw more. They lied too much. They lied too much. Well, here's the thing, Rachel. So during this hearing, so the judge that he has now was the third judge that heard the bail hearing. If y'all remember, he started with 2 other judges. Then he got moved to this one. But I don't know. But generally, you know, whenever a person is convicted, a lot of times they do remain in custody until the sentencing. But in this case, the only reason why he remained in jail was because of the trafficking charges. But what his attorneys is saying, can we let him out at least until he comes back to court? Because originally he was held in custody because of those cases. And then, you know, the prosecution was saying that they knew they were going to get a conviction, but he hasn't been convicted of that. Now, can he at least go home? So we have to see. I mean, I hope, you know, the best for him, but I just don't feel like they're trying to let him out. I feel now, you know, the government is mad, but I guess it doesn't matter, you know, if they're mad. He wasn't convicted. He wasn't convicted. And it's sad, though, that people would want to see somebody go to jail for the rest of their life for deciding to do whatever it is that they do. And Cassie even got up there talking about how men pissed in her mouth, and the man testified that she told him to do it. So it's just like, and this is why the jurors didn't believe shit she had to say. This is why the jurors didn't believe them. So true. They're mad. And the fact that they supposedly have a 99% conviction rate and Puff beat the serious charges. Oh, they're very pissed. Absolutely. They wanted to send this man to jail for the rest of his life. Imagine that. For the rest of his life? I mean, you can literally delete people and get out sooner. Like, how? What? It is possible they are discussing money for bail. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, you said they blocked the black judge with 42 years of experience. Really? Oh, they were look how they were kicking jurors off. See, the thing about it is the prosecution was doing all kind of stuff. Oh, okay. What you say? The New York News says he will be there until sentencing. Yeah, on October 3rd. That's exactly what I'm trying to say, y'all. I mean, I believe it. They say they want him to serve time. One of the charges is 10 years, so half of that. So both, yeah, you're right. So yeah, that's what I was simply saying. That's all I'm saying. He's not going to get out before he's sentenced. He's not, because if he was, they would have let him out today. So there is no going back, because the way that it works is, you know, when people are convicted, sometimes the judge will say, hey, you can leave, go home, take care of your affairs, turn yourself in on this date. But the judge said, oh, we're not letting you go because we feel like you may do this or you may do that. Now, keep in mind, Diddy hasn't been convicted of any violent crimes. We did see him on, you know, the video doing whatever it is to Cassie, but that shouldn't apply in this particular case. So I'm simply saying the reason how you know they're not letting him out because of what the judge just said. They're not letting him out. That's just that. And see, both of the charges together carry 20 years. But generally, what you normally see is that they run them concurrently. It is the same charge. So if they run it concurrently, it's 10 years. Now, the way the federal government works is you get points. They have a point system. So Diddy would probably fall within 2-3 years. But simply what they're saying is they want him to sit in jail, is what they say. They just want him to sit in jail. That is what they're saying. So there's not going to be any more bail hearings. That's kind of what I was trying to relay to y'all. They're not going to let him out before he's sentenced. So they are mad. They are mad. They wanted this man to spend the rest of his life in jail. And for all of y'all got black men in y'all life, y'all got cousins, brothers, or whoever, y'all better make sure that they're making, you know, the right decisions when it comes to dating, when it comes to, you know, these type of things, because they don't have any type of, you know, when it comes to us, they'll throw our ass in jail and throw away the key, because the simple fact that this man was not convicted, they don't care. They don't care. Well, his lawyers can appeal, but they may not. They may not appeal it, because in all honesty, though, this case, the one that he was convicted of, this was really one of the ones that they definitely can prove, because the reason why he was convicted of this is because he flew them from other states. Like, he really did do that. And not only did he do that, it was proven in his bank records where he had paid for this. So I don't know why he would appeal it. Appealing it wouldn't help him, because he probably would be convicted again. Do y'all see the people putting on baby oil? I saw that. I saw that. I saw that. You talking about the people putting on baby oil in New York? Yes, I saw that. How crazy is that? Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. Diddy baby oil party. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see if I can show y'all this. Okay, y'all know they having a little baby oil party down there in New York. What's going on with New York?
Y'all are fucking wildin'. Look. So these people are out there in New York pouring baby oil on each other. What is really going on here? Yes, they is going crazy. What y'all saying? I have a question. What does this do for Justin Bieber and the other people who testified against Diddy? Justin Bieber wasn't in this trial. You said, what does this do for Justin Bieber? Is there any worry of backlash? You said Justin Bieber testified. Justin Bieber testified against Diddy? I'm confused. You said Justin Bieber testified. Where did Justin Bieber testify? He didn't come. He came to this trial. What did he say? I don't know what where y'all be getting this stuff from. I have no idea about Justin Bieber. If he testified, why didn't I? I don't know. I did not know anything about Justin Bieber testifying against Diddy. Did any of y'all hear about that? Somebody said Justin Bieber. I had no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I have no idea. Somebody, I don't know what this person's talking about. I believe this judge will make him do some time. Absolutely. Just for public opinion. They have to justify bringing this. Absolutely. Nikki, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I want him to go to jail. I'm just looking at the facts. This judge is going to send him to prison. I'm just saying. Because if he wasn't, he wouldn't have said what he stated. The judge basically is still on this violence kick. Diddy has not been convicted of any violence. Like, you can't say, oh, I want to let you go because your history. Cassie live in another state. Diddy hadn't had no contact physically with that woman for years. So the fact that they just keep bringing it up is clear that they are going to send him to prison. But the crazy part, though, which I think is totally unfair, y'all could have let that man out, let him get his affairs in order, because you've done it before. And then, like y'all even said before in the chat, you got this Abercrombie and Fitch old man who was doing way more than what Diddy was, convicted of, and y'all let him be out on bail. You see what I'm saying? Let's look up him. The Abercrombie and Fitch guy was convicted. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Let me see if I can. Okay. Do y'all remember this? This man is still out on bail. This guy is still out on bail. Same court. He was convicted. I'm sorry, he wasn't convicted. Former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO arrested for sex trafficking. Okay. So this guy was arrested. He was let go. He's been on bail. Okay. Diddy case was very much different than this man, but they allowed this man to leave on bail. You see what I'm saying? They're not treating this case fairly in my eyes. I mean, they keep talking about Diddy, fighting Cassie umpteen years ago. I mean, that's over. Like, when can we move past that? This man needs to move on with his life, but they're not allowing him. I believe that they're most definitely going to give him jail time. I believe that they're most definitely going to give him jail time, and that they want him to sit there. And with the crazy part, though, he was found not guilty, but essentially they still want to make it seem like he did everything that he wasn't even charged with. I mean, I'm sorry, that he wasn't convicted of. It's pretty much. Maureen Comey and the nerdy judge going to get themselves in a lot of trouble. It's a lot of very prominent people looking at this, right? Looking at them sideways. Exactly. Because this doesn't make sense. Like, you just can't be like, oh, Diddy, we're going to keep you in jail. You was convicted, but we feel like you should still stay in jail. No, you have to charge. Well, he's been, convicted of this crime. You have to give him the sentence for this crime. But it seemed like they still holding the whole thing over his head, and he wasn't even convicted of that. He wasn't convicted of it. He wasn't convicted of it. So I hope that they reach out to Trump. Listen, what's that lady name? Alice Walker. What's that lady name? Trump has a lady that's over the appeals. What's her name? I said Alice Walker. That damn lady name ain't no damn Alice Walker. I'm gonna have to look it up. What's that lady's name? Alice. I'm about to look it up. Yeah, we need to. I'm about to look up her name. Okay, I got her. Here she is. We about to go and look up this lady. We need to send her some messages. We need to get her name is, wait a minute. What's her name? It's Alice Marie. I said Alice Walker. Oh, it's Alice Marie. Okay, y'all. So this is who we need to be reaching out to right here. Let me so this is the lady who is over the pardons. She works right under Trump. I don't know if y'all remember who she is, but this lady was granted a pardon by Donald Trump. Now what she does is she works on that committee that gives people pardons. Her name is Alice Marie. I said Alice Walker. The lady name is not Alice Walker. If y'all remember, when she was in jail, what is her name? Kim Kardashian got her free by, kind of reaching out to Donald Trump. So she actually works for the Trump organization. So this is her name, Alice Marie. And she is the one that goes to Donald Trump to actually get people pardoned. It's Alice Marie Free is her name. All right, y'all, we've been on here for 2 hours and I got another video to do later. So let me jump on off here. Of course, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. We need to reach out to the pardon department and let Diddy go. He done served his time. He got his conviction. They need to let this man.
Hit that bell, 'cause the tea don't stop.